The first character introduced in the Emperor Pilaf Saga is our main protagonist, Goku, and I'm assigning him a power level of 10 units. The reason for this is simple. He was trained by his grandfather, Grandpa Gohan, who was a highly skilled and respected martial artist. Because of that training, at this point in the story, Goku is already roughly twice as strong as the average adult man. Now we have the young Bulma. I estimate her power level at most, around 2.5 units, which makes sense considering that the average adult man has about 5 units. If we compare those values percentage-wise, the average man will be 100% stronger, in other words, twice as strong. In Dragon Ball, that kind of gap is actually very significant, which makes sense when you remember that Bulma is only 16 years old at this point in the story. On their way, they run into Master Roshi's turtle, whose power level I consider extremely low. I'm assigning it just 0.01 units. This is when the first enemy of the saga appears, a giant anthropomorphic bear who tries to take the turtle away and ends up attacking Goku. I estimate this enemy's power at 6.5 units, since logically, he should be clearly stronger than the average man. However, when we compare him to Goku, we get a 54% difference in Goku's favor. That's a massive gap, which explains why Goku defeats him so easily. After that, the turtle introduces them to Master Roshi. I estimate the turtle hermit's power level at 70 units. At that time, he was one of the strongest humans on the planet, a highly respected master with decades of training. So being 7 times stronger than Goku at this stage of the story makes perfect sense. After meeting the master, our friends encounter Oolong, an anthropomorphic pig with the ability to shapeshift into anything he wants. I assign Oolong a power level of 3 units. That would make him slightly stronger than Bulma, but clearly weaker than the average adult man. I also assign 3 units to all of his transformations, since according to his own statements, his power does not change between forms. This is confirmed when a simple thrown rock is enough to hurt him badly. After several hours of traveling, the group crosses a desert. This is where Yamcha is introduced, who at that time was working as a desert bandit. His power was relatively high, so I assign him 8.8 units. At that exact moment, Goku is extremely hungry, which reduces his power level by 20%, leaving him at 8 units. When we compare both values, Yamcha is roughly 10% stronger than Goku. That puts them at very similar levels, which explains why they are able to exchange effective blows during the fight. Goku manages to surprise Yamcha, who didn't expect him to be that strong, although Yamcha is still able to defend himself. However, he is eventually caught off guard by Goku's power pole. Because of this, Yamcha gets serious and uses his special technique, the Wolfang Fist. With this move, his power increases by approximately 5%, reaching 9.2 units. Now the gap widens even further, with Yamcha being about 15% stronger. That explains why he's able to deal significant damage to Goku and send him crashing into the rocks, just like we see in the fight. This makes something very clear: a difference of around 15% is already enough to cause serious damage, while a gap of 20 to 25% is usually enough to defeat an opponent with relative certainty. It's important to keep these numbers in mind to better understand future battles. As the fight continues, Goku manages to recover and launches a surprise attack, poking Yamcha in the eyes and sending him flying. However, Goku's hunger worsens, reducing his power by another 10%, leaving him at 7.2 units. This means the gap becomes even larger. When we compare their levels again, Yamcha is now about 22% stronger than Goku. Because of this, Yamcha, enraged by what he considers a dirty trick, prepares to attack with his full power. The situation is extremely dangerous. Everything points to Goku being defeated. But at the very last second, Bulma appears and saves the situation, taking advantage of Yamcha's shyness around women at that time, which ultimately causes him to retreat. However, the next day, Yamcha reappears to challenge Goku and the others once again. This time, the situation is different. Goku has eaten and fully rested, meaning his power is back at its maximum, reaching 10 units once again. When we compare their levels, Goku is now approximately 14% stronger than Yamcha. That difference is clearly reflected in the fight, as Goku lands a powerful punch that even knocks out one of Yamcha's teeth. Faced with this situation, the Desert Bandit decides to abandon a direct confrontation and switch strategies. Instead, he chooses to secretly follow Goku and his friends, waiting for the perfect opportunity to steal the Dragon Balls. Before continuing, we need to assign a power level to Puar, whom I estimate at 2.2 units, even weaker than Oolong. Sometime later, Yamcha encounters Chi-Chi, the daughter of Ox King. Despite being just a child, she displays impressive strength by effortlessly defeating a dinosaur. Because of this, I estimate her maximum power at 6 units. When compared to Yamcha's 8.8 units, he would be about 47% stronger, more than enough to knock her out with a single blow, which is exactly what happens. On the other hand, our friends meet the mighty Ox King himself. I assign this warrior a power level of 35 units for several reasons. It is mentioned that he was a student of Master Roshi, and that he was the second best disciple, surpassed only by Grandpa Gohan. In other words, he was below both Master Roshi and Grandpa Gohan, but I still consider him stronger than Goku at this point due to his direct training under Roshi. For all these reasons, a value of 35 units seemed very reasonable. Once Ox King learns that Goku is Grandpa Gohan's grandson, the two avoid fighting. After this, Goku brings Master Roshi to extinguish the flames consuming Fire Mountain. As we already know, Master Roshi's base power is 70 units. However, on this occasion, he uses his full power form, which I estimate increases his level by 50%, bringing him up to 105 units. But he doesn't stop there. Immediately afterward, he unleashes his signature technique, Kamehameha. I established that this technique multiplies the user's base power by 2.2. This estimate can be inferred from the fight between Goku and Raditz, where we clearly see the power spike when Goku fires the Kamehameha, allowing us to approximate its multiplier. So if we multiply 105 units by 2.2, we get a total of 231 units of power in that single attack. Thanks to that overwhelming amount of energy, Master Roshi successfully extinguishes the fire, although as a consequence, he also completely destroys the entire mountain along with the castle. However, Goku decides to attempt the technique himself. This is when he performs his very first Kamehameha. As we know, Goku's base power is 10 units. When he uses this technique, which multiplies his power by 2.2, he reaches a total of 22 units. With that level of energy concentrated into a single blast, he manages to destroy a small car, clearly demonstrating both the potential of a Kamehameha and Goku's incredible natural talent, since he was able to replicate the technique after seeing it only once. Continuing with the saga, the next enemies introduced are Monster Carrot and his henchmen. I estimate the subordinates' power levels at 5.5 and 5.7 units respectively, since they should be slightly stronger than the average adult man. Even so, they are still far below Goku's 10 units, which explains why he is able to defeat them rather easily, just as we see in the confrontation. On the other hand, I assign Monster Carrot himself a power level of only 4.5 units. Being an anthropomorphic rabbit, he should logically be physically weaker than his own bodyguards. His true danger doesn't come from raw strength, but from his special ability, the power to turn anyone he touches into a carrot. It's precisely because of this ability that he manages to transform Bulma into a carrot. At that moment, Goku can attack directly without risking his friend's life. Taking advantage of that limitation, the henchmen begin attacking Goku while he's unable to properly defend himself. However, the situation changes with the arrival of Yamcha. Thanks to his superior power, he easily defeats Monster Carrot's subordinates. Because of this, the conflict is ultimately resolved when Goku decides to take Monster Carrot and his henchmen all the way to the moon. Finally, we reach the last antagonist of the saga, Emperor Pilaf and his henchmen. When it comes to their power levels, I consider Pilaf to be the weakest of the group, with only 3 units of power since he doesn't display any notable physical ability. Next is Mai. Although she is a normal human, she has military training, so assigning her 5 units is fairly reasonable. Then we have Shu, whom I place at 6 units. Even though he is an anthropomorphic animal, he carries a katana and dresses like a ninja, which suggests solid preparation and combat ability. After their plans are once again foiled, Pilaf decides to imprison Goku and the others inside a solid steel chamber, leaving them completely trapped. At that moment, neither Yamcha nor Goku can do anything to escape. However, something unexpected happens. Goku looks up at the full moon and transforms into a great ape. As we know, Goku's base power is 10 units, and this transformation multiplies his power by 10, bringing him up to 100 units. With that overwhelming strength, he completely destroys the castle, allowing everyone to escape. In the end, Yamcha together with Puar cuts off Goku's tail, returning him to normal. With everything resolved, they all go their separate ways. Yamcha leaves with Bulma for the city, while Goku decides to part ways in order to train under Master Roshi, now fully determined to become much stronger. Thanks for watching the video and sticking with me until the end. If you enjoyed the analysis, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next videos. Take care everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.